In this video breakdown, we're going to look at 15 plays from the 2021 NBA playoffs that I enjoyed breaking down the most. I have a full breakdown of all 35 of my favorite plays from this year's playoffs, but that's available in Coach's Cut, link in the description below. Throughout this breakdown, I'll be referencing terms and different things that I talk about relating to NBA terminology, to defense, to offense. I won't be able to break down all of those in this one video. If you're looking for an extra resource on that, the course that Ben Falk and I created about learning X's and O's from the ground up is on sale for a limited time. Perfect time to start that before next season starts during this off season. If you're looking for that, a course link is in the description below. My name is Gibson Pyper. You can follow me on Twitter at halfcourthoops. Let's get into the breakdown. The Heat didn't run a ton of great plays in these playoffs. The Bucks defense did a good job jamming up a lot of their pet plays. An after timeout play that they ran involving Duncan Robinson and Bam Adebayo started off sort of in like this sort of stack formation almost, with two players evenly lined up and a couple different options off of it. The first look was basically to have Robinson set a ball screen. Butler's going to go away from it on this side and then look for throwback action. So it's kind of just jumbling up and setting a double ball screen right now for Bam setting it for Jimmy Butler. As Butler attacks here, the defense is going to come in the help. When they come in the help, that's going to allow Robinson to be freed up on this throwback action because Lopez is obviously going to be the rim protector. Giannis is chasing the ball. When Bam sets his throwback screen here for Robinson to come and catch and shoot, that leaves Middleton trailing, which means he's going to end up fouling him on the three here. Good action for Robinson. They actually ran this another time where it turns into almost like Horn's flare action, where Robinson sets that first screen and then comes off like a flare screen from Bam. So you can see that here. So as he sets that, we get a little bit of a hedge. And as that hedge occurs, we see Robinson cutting off of Bam because Lopez again is in drop, hanging out in the paint. We see Robinson end up being free wide open, ends up pump faking, getting a corner three for Dragic, who just misses. The Bucks ran a couple of really great back screen into a dribble handoff plays. I just call those rip into dribble handoffs. This play starts off like most Budenholzer timeouts with Jrue Holiday cutting off that little zipper action. Giannis is then going to come off of this Iverson screen from Forbes and Portis to the opposite wing. After he clears and gets to like the wing area, it looks like it's almost like an ISO for Giannis. What they have Forbes do is come in like almost like he's going to set this little ball screen for Giannis, and he's going to come and go into a corner dribble handoff. This one is more of a niche play for NBA guys because this is a high level difficulty on this shot here from Bryn Forbes. As we can see, they run the same action here against the Nets. Same concept, getting a corner three for Forbes off a handoff. Again, pretty tough action to guard, but even tougher to execute offensively. The back screen into a dribble handoff action that I like a little bit better and that I think is more replicable at like the lower levels is this same sort of concept where we have PJ Tucker coming off of this zipper action. Giannis is going to go off of this Iverson. And then this time, especially against the Nets switch everything defense, we're going to see Jrue Holiday, who starts off low here, is going to come and like almost fake this back screen from Middleton. Two players are going to end up going with Middleton. It freezes the defense. Then Holiday is going to come off for a dribble handoff from Giannis on the wing. Really good action and tougher to guard and a little bit easier to execute, in my opinion, at the lower levels. The Hawks do a good job in this play, tricking the tag or taking the tag away. As the ball gets past a Herter on the wing, we're going to see Capella come here and set this little step-up screen and then roll hard to the rim. At the same time, Bogdanovic looks like he's going to set a flare screen, and then Gallo's going to lift up. And what that's going to do is essentially empty out the entire paint. So as Capella rolls, even if anybody wants to tag, everybody on the New York Knicks defense is above the free throw line, occupied with other weak side action. So Capella ends up diving right to the rim for an easy dunk. One of the ways that the Clippers like to get Paul George and Kawhi Leonard going downhill, maybe attack switches, attack smaller or the worst defender on the other team, is to set up sort of dummy action into a side step-up ball screen. I just call this formation C, or like the corner, and then Knicks is what I call a pass into a ball screen, just Knicks action. So you see here, initially what happens is Zubac is going to come and set this ball screen. It's just fake action where they're basically essentially trying to get the defense on the help side to react. So you see Reggie's going to kind of come off it here and just fake it. This isn't anything. And then he's going to throw it back to Paul George on a quick pass, and then Rondo is going to sprint up into a ball screen. So as you can see here, as this ball screen occurs, Crowder's eyes are on the ball, Booker's off the ball, so he's not going to be as attentive. Booker's not known for the best off-ball defender, but it still gets them doing something else before they have to guard this action that they want you to guard, which is this little step-up screen here for Paul George to look and catch and get downhill. They're obviously picking on Devin Booker, who was the weakest defender, even though I thought he had a really good playoffs defensively, still the weakest link on this Phoenix Suns team. So they get Paul George attacking him downhill. Do the same thing when they had Kawhi healthy, look to attack the weaker defender or smaller defenders. The 76ers run two good counters out of posting up Ben Simmons. The first one is going to be just getting him in some kind of slice action using Curry as a screener, get him in the post with Embiid handling on the perimeter. After the ball gets entered in the post, this looks like it's going to be sort of split action or even a screen-to-screener action, which is what the next action actually is, where Curry would set the screen and then receive a down screen from Embiid. What they're going to do is sort of decoy this action by having Embiid sort of fake like he's going to set this split. Curry going to back screen off of Capella, and then Harris is going to cut off like he's going to cut off that split screen from Embiid. Embiid's going to slip and then come right out the back screen. And especially this play design here, they're putting Trae Young on the weak side, which means he's not going to be any match for Embiid coming off of this lob. Here they run the same action against the Wizards in the opening game. The difference here is Len, who is guarding Embiid, is going to be sagged off in the paint. So you can see him here kind of clogging up the lane, not worried about the threat of Embiid shooting. So Embiid comes off here, and instead Curry, and he still does a good job adjusting and back screens Len here. So when Embiid goes, he's able to catch it and get fouled. Now, the normal screen-to-screener action that the 76ers run starts off the same way, with Curry coming in and setting this little slice screen for Simmons and Embiid handling on the perimeter. Now we get Curry setting a back screen here for Harris. This isn't execute great, but Curry sets a back screen here, then comes off a down screen from Embiid. The Embiid from down screen is not great at a great angle. Ends up Curry getting off a ball screen and scoring anyways. The Bucks went to this double rip or double cross screen set for Giannis in the NBA Finals. Scored 2 times off of it, both basically dunks. 2 blown coverages from the Suns that wasn't great scouting. They normally ran this for Middleton throughout the postseason, but they ran this for Giannis after timeouts in particular, where they have this kind of fake ball screen up here with Jrue Holiday coming off of it. Then we get a double cross screen. I call it a double rip action. It's like basically a double rip back screen where Giannis comes off and is looking to either catch it in the post or maybe get a quick score off of it. What happens here is Crowder goes over the top of this. Payne bumps Giannis, which is the correct defensive coverage, because you want to try to beat Giannis to the spot. But what happens is, because Crowder stays over the top too much, and then PJ Tucker ends up doing a good job keeping Crowder on top up here, Giannis sneaks underneath. Crowder's going to get caught up top. And because he gets caught up top, Giannis can stay below the screen and essentially catch an easy finish. Probably one of my favorite after timeout plays is this Dallas Mavericks play with multiple layers. I love layers and sets and different actions and options. You can see here how many options they have out of this. It's just so tough to guard. So you can see the initial dribble handoff here flows into what we call 5-out or delay action. Then we get a flare screen here and a slip. So try to catch a switching out. The Clippers do a good job kind of staying attached to most of these switching stuff, pretty physical with it. And then it goes into a side ball screen as decoy action, the player rolling. The player who slipped in the flare is going to exit out to the corner. And now we're going to have a ghost screen, guard to guard, looking to get downhill. So Brunson's going to fake this screen here, ghost it to the perimeter, looking to maybe get a downhill drive, create some more confusion against switching. Then after, it all flows into a spread ball screen for the pick and pop with Brunson getting downhill. A couple options on the weak side here. In this one, Porzingis and Finney-Smith both exchange, which I really like. It basically takes a tag or tricks a tag, gets Brunson going downhill. Lots of action, lots of options out of this one play from the Mavs. Really, really like it. The Suns, knowing that the Clippers are going to play a lot of zone, have played a lot of zone throughout the playoffs, especially playing small. We see them set up a zone lob play, one of the more common plays you'll ever see run, especially in college basketball, against a zone for a lob. The ball gets passed to the wing. Chris Paul is going to cut to the opposite side. Booker's going to flash to the middle. As this occurs, we're going to see Jay Crowder flash to the nail right in the middle of the floor to draw up the defense. Normally, this would draw in college, this would draw the wing up and the center up. But in this scenario, because the NBA does a little more switching, defense at 3 seconds, man points out and has Morris take the high post so he can sag down a little bit. But it doesn't matter because DeAndre Ayton does a good job screening him on the backside. Bridges sneaks backdoor for a lob. Great play design, great opening play. The Trailblazers went to this diamond action for Dame, which is essentially floppy with 2 players low, 1 player at the nail, and then Dame can have the option to come off of either side, and then the big would then chase into a spread ball screen, and let's say Dame comes off this side, then the player at the nail then goes to the opposite side. This is something that Kentucky runs a lot of. I did a breakdown on it on the channel. If you want to check it out, I've linked that as well. So here we see Dame come off of that screen to the wing, and then Nurk is going to come up and chase into this ball screen. But because that screen created initial confusion, now Dame catches the ball here with no dribble, has the option to jab, reject, pump, attack. He's got his live dribble he hasn't used yet, and then he can come off a ball screen. Also creates a little bit of hesitancy since Jokic was playing more up to touch at the level on Dame, and so it creates a little bit of maybe a late hedge or a lower hedge from Jokic if they run it correctly. The Wizards didn't run a ton of stuff well against the 76ers in the first round of the playoffs this year. One of my favorite sets that they did run was flipping it to Bradley Beal and having a guard, usually Bertans, set a ball screen. So they go handoff right into a ball screen with Bertans setting it for Beal. Usually Russ would then clear out of the way here. You can go maybe a pick and pop, go for a switch game, getting Beal downhill, using a shooter as a screener. One of their more effective actions that they ran against the 76ers.
If he is going to finally make good on that goal to reach the championship round, he has to go through his friend LeBron to get there.
Go here in the third quarter, and that's where we need the wire to confirm your suspicions, because it could have been, young fella, take a...
The Lakers ran a good after timeout play with Anthony Davis as the handler at the 5, where they would set starting off a down screen or a ram screen for him, similar like stack action we see teams run with AD coming out to this ball side elbow. After he receives the pass, he then goes into that side dribble handoff action that we talked about. It's difficult to cover because are you in low help? Are you helping in the corner? Lakers are in 5 out playing small. They end up getting downhill and using AD as a lob threat. Really tough action to guard. We're going to look at the Knicks wide chase Spain out of 5 out, where they run basically the normal wide action where you get the ball reversed, and then it's a wide middle pin down for the point guard to come off it. As the pass goes back, then it usually flows into what is a spread pick and roll. So as this flows into a spread pick and roll, the player from the corner is going to come and be the back screen man in the Spain action. So his responsibility is to back screen the ball screener's defender, which in this case is a Kongwu. And then Randall is going to clear out to the ball side corner or opposite corner of the ball, so it can have the proper Spain spacing. So as we go here, we see the ball screen, and then we get the back screen on the ball screener. So in this scenario, now Lou Williams is the main decision maker. Normally what this would be defensively would be a drop from Okongwu. Williams would switch out on the ball, and then Herder would switch onto the Spain pop man. In this case, it'd be Burks. But because the Hawks, generally speaking, will play a little more aggressive with Okongwu, a little bit more up to touch at the level of the ball, this means now Lou Williams is a decision maker, and this second pick actually frees up Rose to get downhill with no contest.
This year had that gruesome broken leg 2 years ago that knocked him out in 2019. Here's Campazzo over the head for Jokic.
Foul charge to C.J. McCollum. There's so many different parts of
second quarter. 10-3. They start the third quarter 9-1. They have been effective, off to the races every time. Campazzo and Ayton was there. Rivers and Paul. Jokic the screen. Paul fights through. Down goes
high five. Inside of 10. How long can they sit Nurkic? Aaron Gordon over there, 2. 3 ball, got it.
The Nuggets run really good wide action here. I call this wide 45 because after the ball gets reversed and we get this wide screen here with Jokic setting sort of like the single down action here for Facu, we're going to see the 45 cut. So the player who passes it is going to 45 cut all the way through to the opposite side. And then when Jokic comes and turns and set this ball screen here, he picks and pops into space. There's nowhere for anybody to tag. So as Facu comes downhill here, we're going to see there's nobody here to tag Jokic. So when he picks and pops, whether it's in mid-range game, three-point game, here Powell can't tag because he's going to be leaving the best three-point shooter on the Nuggets and Michael Porter Jr., but also the single side, which means you're helping one pass away, which NBA teams just don't do. So this is going to essentially guarantee Jokic either gets open on the pop, you force a switch. It's just a tough contain for the defense.